Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for requesting this private EFT session that Mandy and I are going to do. If you haven't already listened to the episode of the podcast, it will be linked below, and I highly recommend checking that out so that you understand more about what we're talking about. But with regards to divorce and mediation and things of that nature, you mentioned that it would be fun. Well, I don't know how fun it is, but it would be helpful to tap on spousal support. Is that correct, Mandy?
Yeah, so you asked me, what is something that is often a triggering conversation? And I
Yeah,
said spousal support because I find that it's triggering for everyone.
for sure.
Like if for the person who's going to be receiving it, it may not be enough, or they don't feel like it's enough. It's not paid for long enough. The person who's paying it, it's too much. It's too long. Why do they have to pay it? It's not fair. And I, as a mediator, and having to facilitate this discussion, which is, I know that it's always triggering, and almost nobody ever says, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Um,
Right?
so they're really hard conversations to have, but we have to have them.
Right. What other emotions tend to come to the table when mediating the spousal support?
For me, as a mediator, um, it's about trying to get to explain the framework of it and what the court intends for the parties. I think sometimes there's sadness, there's anger, um, there's maybe a feeling about not being treated right, disrespectful, that it's not fair. I'm looking to try and help them come to an agreement on it, making sure that have I explained this clearly? It's a kind of complicated topic too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make sure did I explain that right? Do they understand it? Um,
So I want to look at this from your perspective as we do this tapping round. I think that's going to be the most helpful. And then if people are watching this tapping round and they're going through this and they're on uh, the giving or the receiving end of the spousal support, they can probably adjust this round for their own feelings and make it
right.
work for them too. Um, so you kind of are in an awkward position, to say the least.
Yeah.
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 And do you tend to feel like misunderstood?
I think I feel responsible because I feel like it, um, it's such an important topic, and they're making this big decision that once it's through the court, they can't change it, what they've decided. So it
Okay.
is really important that they have a clear understanding.
And you're trying to
Um,
help people navigate this without having to get the judges involved in making the decision for them.
yes, so they have the ability to reach an agreement themselves. They can always get legal advice, and I do recommend that they do that. But it's setting the framework for how does spousal support work, and a lot of people come in with not knowing that at all, or else they come in. I think a lot of people have ideas about spousal support either from friends or from family members who are telling them, make sure you ask for this, that's not right, you can get this, you should get more.
More
um
opinion than fact, or a
yes,
lot of emotionally charged
yes, yeah,
information.
yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. Do you have more stress when you know you're going into that kind of a mediation, or is it all
Oh,
like for
yes. I
you
mean,
as a mediator?
yes, I usually know when in the session, I know when we're going to be talking about spousal support. Um, and I usually have some of the data beforehand to be able to look at it. And so I can sometimes anticipate the questions that are coming up. Um, and that sometimes makes it more stressful for me because I feel then that I am walking into this minefield.
Okay. So what emotion would you consider it when you're getting ready to go into? Because I want you to like rate something on that 0 to 10 scale that we discussed on the podcast. How much is it stress? Is it apprehension? Is it like what would you call it as you go into this?
Um, nervousness comes to mind.
Okay, perfect. So when you're getting ready to do a mediation that you know is going to include spousal support in that session, how, on a scale of 0 to 10, how nervous do you tend to feel?
I'm going to say it could be 7 to 8.
Okay. And of course, the best way to test this sort of work is if you were just getting ready to go into one. And obviously, I don't think that's the case for you this afternoon. I don't know for sure.
No,
But,
no.
just imagine that you were doing that. And because the best way to use this technique is when those emotions are elevated. So, maybe you'll be able to try it out before one in the future and rewatch this recording yourself and let me know how it goes.
Well,
But for
I will
right now,
tell you, actually, even talking about it and thinking through some of the scenarios, I can feel
getting a
my
little
heart.
bit, yeah, good. That's
Well,
perfect. So then we'll be able to tell if there's a shift. So what we're going to do is it's going to be just like follow the leader. I'm going to, tap the point, you'll tap the same point. I'm going to say something, you'll repeat it back. If for some reason I really am missing the mark, please correct what I'm saying or help me make it more accurate for the way that you feel.
right.
All right,
Okay.
here we go. Just start by taking a nice deep breath, Mandy. Just a nice inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth. Even though I can get so nervous before spousal support mediation.
And do you want me to be tapping as
Yes,
well?
please tap along with
Okay.
me and repeat
Okay.
after me. So even though I
E-
can get so nervous before a spousal support mediation,
Even though I can get so nervous before a spousal support mediation,
I'm open to the idea that it can go smoothly.
I'm open to the idea that it can go smoothly,
Even though it can feel so awkward trying to navigate this.
even though it can feel so awkward trying to navigate this.
And there's no way for me to possibly anticipate everything that might happen.
And there's no way for me to possibly anticipate everything that might happen.
I want to love and accept myself anyway.
I want to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I never know what kind of minefield I'm walking into.
Even though I never know what kind of minefield I'm walking into.
What kind of surprises are going to come to the mediation table?
What kind of surprises are going to come to the mediation table?
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
I love, accept, and forgive myself.
Now we're going to start moving through the other points. We're going to go to the top of the head first. Spousal support mediations are always triggering.
Spousal support mediations are always triggering.
It is so awkward to have to talk about money.
It is so awkward to have to talk about money.
And yet it is such an important part of the process.
And yet it is such an important part of the process.
Side of the eye. And I'm the one that's supposed to guide them through it.
And I'm the one that's supposed to guide them through it.
Under the eye. I feel so responsible for getting a good outcome.
I feel so responsible for getting a good outcome.
Under the nose. And there's just so much unpredictability.
And there's so much unpredictability.
Even as I explain the framework, I don't know what the response is going to be.
Even as I explain the framework, I don't know what the response is going to be.
And sometimes people are so misinformed.
And sometimes people are so misinformed.
Under the arm. And they bring so much emotion to the table.
And they bring so much emotion to the table.
And I worry that they're going to think that the process is disrespectful.
I worry that they're going to think that the process is disrespectful.
Or that it's not fair.
Or that it's not fair.
And I know that sometimes some of the most fair outcomes
I know sometimes some of the most fair outcomes
leave both parties pretty unhappy.
Leave both parties pretty unhappy.
And I'm just there trying to help.
And I'm just there trying to help.
Because I know in my heart of hearts, this will be better than if they have to leave it up to the judge.
'Cause I know in my heart of hearts, this will be better than if they leave it up to the judge.
And yet sometimes it is still so difficult to reach an agreement.
And yet sometimes it is still so difficult to reach an agreement.
And there can be so many little petty things that come up.
And there can be so many little petty things that come up.
Small amounts of money bickered over,
Small amounts of money bickered over,
or large amounts of money.
or large amounts.
It's so awkward.
It's so awkward.
I'm open to the idea that I am capable of helping people through this.
I'm open to the idea that I am capable of helping people through this.
I know that I'm capable. I've proven it to myself before.
I know that I'm capable. I've proven it to myself before.
And I have helped a lot of people.
And I've helped a lot of people
to get better outcomes than they would have gotten on their own.
To get better outcomes than they would have gotten on their own.
And to keep their wits about them as they navigate this awkward situation.
And to keep their wits about them as they navigate this awkward situation.
I'm open to the idea that I'm going to know the right things to say.
I'm open to the idea that I'm going to know the right things to say.
And that I can trust myself to be there for the people I'm helping to mediate.
And I can trust myself to be there to help the people that I mediate for.
Yeah. Releasing this nervousness down to a cellular level.
Releasing this nervousness down to a cellular level.
And opening up to the idea that I can be a great support system.
And opening up to the idea that I can be a great support system.
And that I can start this mediation in a clear and grounded way.
That I can start this mediation in a clear and grounded way.
And maintain that frequency throughout the entirety.
And maintain that frequency throughout the entirety.
All right, Mandy, take a nice deep inhale again through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. How did that feel?
Actually, it was really helpful. I was very surprised. It was like, kind of working through it. You did a great job of like really reading what goes through my mind in those moments and with what you were saying. And so like taking that time beforehand and really sort of saying, yes, I can do this. I can do it.
Yeah, boosting your confidence around it a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you had to walk into a mediation right now, how would you feel on that scale of 0 to 10 about the nervousness?
Probably a 3 or 4.
Wonderful. So we cut it in half in like 5 minutes.
Right. I don't know that it would ever go away because it completely, it's like I've been doing this long enough to know that I can have things on paper and think that they look pretty straightforward, and then for surprises to come up and things like, oh, okay, things out of left field that I have no idea about. So
there's some amount of that nervousness that protects you, that keeps you alert, that, allows you to navigate in a more vigilant way, perhaps. So yeah, you might not ever release it fully, but I think you'll probably also navigate the situation better when you're a little more relaxed.
Yeah,
this can
absolutely.
provide taking that edge off and allow you to feel a little less stress going into it and a little more confidence and embodiment in your ability to approach the situation however it needs to be approached.
And I would think too, like my clients might pick up on that nervousness. So if it's really elevated, it's much better for it to be lowered.
Energy is very tangibly felt and transferred, and that's part of how I help you in this session right now. I picked up on your energy and I tried to translate that back to you in words and in a way that would help to release that. And yeah, it's no different, I'm sure, with your clients that you're mediating. So if they feel like you're calm, and even if it just allows you, not that you're a speed talker by any means, but just to slow down, to bring the tone down, to speak a little slower, all of that stuff really does help to translate into a more productive session and just better emotions for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
it's that
you.
example of when we take care of
Yes.
ourselves first, then everybody else benefits. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you for
Well,
doing that with me. I
awesome.
appreciate it. And for
Yeah, well,
anybody who
thank
tapped along with us, I highly encourage you to share how this affected you. I love receiving emails, Theresa at theresalearlevine.com. Would you be interested in hearing from people, Mandy? You're welcome to share your email address.
Yes, Mandy at mandywalker.com, and it's Mandy.
Beautiful. Yeah, I always love hearing it. If you share like where you started at the beginning on that scale of 0 to 10, or even ways that maybe you transformed this to make it applicable to your own situation. It's all beautiful. And thank you for tapping with me.
Thank you, Theresa.